My family ignored my daughter's shattered femur, forcing her to hobble 4 miles with a bleeding leg, claiming no time for help, and 4 days later their panic revealed a dark secret. I stood frozen in the sterile hum of the ICU, the antiseptic scent stinging my nose as I stared at my 13-year-old daughter Lily, hooked to monitors, her fragile frame dwarfed by the hospital bed. Her leg, once strong enough to dance through our Napa Valley loft, was now a mangled mess, swathed in bandages after emergency surgery for a shattered femur. My world cracked open the moment I burst through those double doors, 3 days after leaving her with my estranged family for a tech summit in Los Angeles. My gut had screamed warnings I'd ignored, and now here I was, Emily Harper, 33, a tech entrepreneur on the cusp of a $10 million zero-cents deal, watching my brilliant, compassionate girl fight for her life. All because Richard, Claire, and Owen had concealed a hiking horror that should have never happened. The beeping machines mocked my helplessness as a nurse adjusted Lily's IV, her green eyes fluttering open, clouded with pain and confusion. "Mom?" she whispered, and my heart shattered all over again. Lily is my everything, her laughter a lifeline since my divorce from Daniel 5 years ago. He'd moved to Sydney, a tech consultant sending steady child support but sporadic visits, leaving me to juggle single motherhood and a startup that's finally gaining traction. I've poured my soul into being both mom and dad, building Harper Innovations from a garage idea to a company courted by venture capitalists, but none of that mattered now. Not with Lily's leg twisted in ways that made my stomach churn. I gripped her hand, the warmth a stark contrast to the cold fear gripping me, and vowed to unravel how this nightmare began. My relationship with my parents, Richard and Claire, and my brother Owen has always been a jagged wound. They live 2 hours away in a sprawling vineyard estate in Napa Valley. A picture-perfect spread with rolling hills, a private tasting room, and forest trails that Lily adores. Growing up there, I was never enough for Richard, a retired cardiologist who demanded flawlessness, or Claire, a former dean who dissected every choice I made. My B-plus grades were a disgrace, my jeans and T-style a rebellion, and my decision to launch a tech startup instead of medicine a personal affront. Owen, 2 years younger, was their golden child, gliding into Richard's medical legacy as a neurosurgeon, his every misstep excused while mine were magnified. Yet, for Lily's sake, I kept the connection alive. She loved vineyard tours with Richard, baking with Claire, and soaking up Owen's wild hospital stories, tales I'd once envied but now saw as a performance to win her over. It shielded Lily from their barbed critiques, the same ones that had chipped away at my confidence for decades. But when my principal opportunity came, a tech summit in LA offering a $10 million zero-cents venture capital deal, I had no choice but to lean on them. Lily was thrilled, her green eyes sparkling as she packed her favorite sketchbook for a weekend hike with Richard. "It'll be an adventure, Mom," she'd said, her voice bubbling with excitement. I forced a smile, packing her sturdy hiking boots and slipping a note in her bag about her recent ankle sprain and asthma medication. "Call me if you need anything," I told her, hugging her tight. She rolled her eyes playfully. "I'm 13, Mom. I've got this." But something gnawed at me, a shadow I couldn't shake. The tension spiked when Owen announced he'd join last minute. His marriage to Tara was crumbling, and he'd fled to the estate to clear his head. His presence always tilted the family dynamic, making Richard and Claire even more dismissive of me, their eyes glazing over my achievements while fawning over his. I dropped Lily off Friday afternoon, the vineyard estate glowing under the spring sun, budding vines stretching toward the horizon. Richard greeted her with a bear hug, Claire fussing over her light jacket. "That won't do for the trails," Claire clucked, ushering Lily inside with a stack of suitable clothes. I bit my tongue, catching Lily's reassuring glance. Richard barely nodded at me, already plotting the hike to the upper vineyard ridge. "It's stunning this time of year," he said, his tone more for Lily than me. Owen arrived as I was leaving, sweeping Lily into a dramatic hug. "Ready for the cool uncle's adventure?" he boomed, his grin too wide. I forced a wave, whispering to Lily, "Call me tonight, okay? I love you more than anything." She nodded, waving from between their stern faces and Owen's smirk, an image that would haunt me. The summit started strong. My pitch on AI-driven sustainability solutions drew nods from investors, and Friday's networking buzzed with potential. But I checked my phone obsessively, smiling at Lily's texts about Claire's scones and a hawk she'd spotted. Friday evening, I called as promised, but no one answered. I tried 3 times over 2 hours, my anxiety spiking. Finally, Richard called back, curt and dismissive. "Lily's asleep. We prepped the vineyard boat for summer and she's wiped out." I pressed. "Can you wake her? I promised to say goodnight." His laugh was sharp. "Don't be absurd, Emily. She needs rest, not your hovering." I swallowed my frustration. "Have her call tomorrow, then?" He grunted. "We're hiking early. She'll call after." The line went dead. I texted Lily directly, but the message failed. Spotty service, I told myself, diving into presentation notes. What I didn't know was the terror unfolding 400 miles away. Saturday morning, Lily later told me through tears, started innocently. Owen arrived with pastries, hyping the 7-mile ridge hike Richard had mapped. Lily hesitated, her ankles still tender. "Maybe the shorter trail," she suggested softly. Richard's response was a cold blade. "Your mother coddles you. You're old enough for this. Owen wants the ridge view." Her opinion didn't matter. Owen's did, a dynamic I knew too well. They set out at 9 a.m., Lily in her boots, a backpack with water, and her confiscated phone. The first half was fine, the ridge offering a breathtaking panorama of budding vines and distant hills. But on the return, the trail narrowed, slick with spring runoff. Lily stepped carefully, but Richard and Owen surged ahead, Claire trailing. No one saw her foot slip on a mossy rock. The crack of her femur snapping echoed, a sound she'd never forget, followed by a scream that tore through the vineyard. Owen rushed back, his neurosurgeon training kicking in. He prodded her leg, already swelling, and muttered, "Looks like a hairline fracture. We can handle it." Lily, gasping, clutched her thigh, blood seeping through her jeans from a compound fracture. "It's broken. I heard it," she cried. For a moment, she hoped he'd call for help, maybe me, but Richard checked his watch, his voice icy. "We've got the Henderson dinner at 7. No time for a hospital run." Claire nodded, lips tight. "The Hendersons are key investors. We can't cancel." Lily looked to Owen, her uncle a doctor, but he shrugged. "It's minor. Walking it off might help. I'll ice it at home." Her heart sank. "I can't walk," she pleaded, dizziness hitting. Richard fashioned a crude stick, Owen insisting weight-bearing. "Strengthens bones," and Claire snapped, "No dramatics. We're on a schedule." They forced her to hobble, her leg a throbbing ruin, blood staining the trail. The 4-mile trek back was a blur of agony. Lily cried until her voice broke, begging for her phone, for rest. They allowed brief stops, hurrying her with reminders of the dinner. A rogue drone buzzed overhead, its lens glinting. Owen's nervous glance suggested it wasn't random, maybe tied to his murky financial dealings. By the estate, her leg was a grotesque swell, bruising from hip to knee. Owen and Richard half-carried her the last stretch, dumping her in the cellar with ice and ibuprofen. "We'll be back after dinner," Claire said, leaving her alone with a bottle of water and a flickering lantern. The drone's hum faded, but the fear lingered. Lily tried the landline. Dead from a storm-damaged line they'd ignored. Trapped, she drifted in and out, pain her only companion. Meanwhile, I was losing my mind in LA. Saturday stretched into night with no word. I left voicemails, texted neighbors, my panic mounting. Sunday morning, I ditched the summit's final session, driving 3 hours back, my hands white-knuckled on the wheel. Scenarios raced. Dead battery, poor signal, or worse. Turning onto the estate's gravel drive, I saw their cars. Richard's SUV, Claire's sedan, Owen's flashy convertible. Relief soured as I stormed in, finding them sipping wine, laughing over a chess game. "Emily, you're early," Claire said, as if I'd crashed a party. "I've been trying you for 2 days. Where's Lily?" Owen waved lazily. "Asleep. Took a tumble on the hike. She's fine." The casual lie ignited me. What tumble? What happened? Richard sighed, setting down a pawn. She slipped, twisted her leg. We've been icing it. If it's nothing, why no calls, why no response? The landline's out, Claire offered, and her phone's with us. No tech on hikes. I didn't wait. I bolted to the cellar, their excuses trailing. Lily lay on a cot, her face ashen, her leg a swollen, bloody nightmare. "Mom," she sobbed, fresh tears spilling. I dropped beside her, horror seizing me. What did they do? Through gasps, she recounted the fall, the crack, the forced march, the abandonment. Her legs' misalignment screamed severity. I turned, fury blazing. "You made her walk on this for 4 hours and left her?" Richard shrugged. "We gave her pills. Owen said it was minor." Owen nodded. "Kids bounce back. I see it daily." I couldn't believe it. "She's bleeding. She needs a hospital now," Claire protested. "Don't overreact, Emily. We had a dinner to save our vineyards deal." I scooped Lily up, her weight light against my adrenaline, and carried her to my car, their voices a distant buzz. The 20-minute drive to Napa General was a nightmare, every bump wrenching a whimper from her. I called ahead. The ER team rushed us in. Dr. Patel, a brisk woman with kind eyes, ordered x-rays and morphine. The results hit like a punch. A displaced femur fracture, compound and infected, with nerve damage risks. "Walking on this caused soft tissue trauma," she said. "Amputation's a possibility if infection spreads." My knees buckled. Surgery was urgent. Metal rods, a graft, the works. As they prepped Lily, I held her hand, promising I'd be there. The moment they wheeled her away, Richard, Claire, and Owen appeared, their faces a mix of defiance and guilt. "This is excessive," Richard started. I could have assessed it. I cut him off, voice steel. "You endangered her life for a dinner. Get out." Claire pleaded, "We're family." I met her gaze. "Family doesn't do this." Owen stepped forward, smirking. "You're blowing it out of proportion like always." My calm broke. "She's in surgery because you, a neurosurgeon, ignored a compound fracture. Leave, or I'll have security remove you." They stormed out, muttering about my drama. But I felt a strange liberation. Lily's surgery loomed. A fight I'd win for her, no matter the cost. And that drone. Who sent it, and why? Hovered in my mind, a mystery I'd unravel. The ICU's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like a swarm of restless bees as I sat beside Lily's hospital bed, the clock ticking toward 3 a.m. on that gut-wrenching Sunday, June 28, 2025. Her surgery had just ended, a grueling 6-hour marathon that fused metal rods into her shattered femur. But Dr. Patel's words still echoed in my skull, a relentless drumbeat. Amputation looms if infection spreads. Her leg, grotesquely swollen and oozing beneath the thick bandages, was a grotesque testament to the 4 agonizing hours my family, Richard, Claire, and Owen, forced her to hobble back to their vineyard estate, abandoning her in that damp, spiderweb-draped cellar with only a handful of ibuprofen while they toasted investors at a lavish dinner. I'd raced back from LA, my unanswered calls stacking like a tower of dread after Friday evening, only to find them sipping Cabernet in blissful ignorance Sunday morning, their laughter a mockery of Lily's screams. Her pale, pain-ravaged face, now etched with lines no 13-year-old should bear, ignited a fury I could barely leash. They'd brushed it off as a twist Lee managed with smug arrogance, but the X-ray screamed a different truth. A displaced femur fracture with nerve damage teetering on the edge of irreversible disaster. Exhaustion gnawed at my bones, my eyes burning from 48 hours without sleep, my tech entrepreneur mind fraying under the weight of it all. I was Emily Harper, 33, a rising star at Harper Innovations, on the brink of a $10 million 0-cents venture capital deal. Yet none of that mattered as I watched Lily's chest rise unevenly, the monitors beeping a fragile lifeline. Then the first tremor struck. A nurse burst in, her face pale as moonlight, her voice shaky as she reported a mysterious fire engulfing the estate's southern fields. Arson, suspected, linked to Owen's spiraling deaths. My breath caught, a cold vice clamping my chest. Owen, the neurosurgeon darling, had always masked his flaws with that polished smile, but rumors of underground gambling and loan sharks had swirled for months, hushed whispers I'd dismissed as family gossip. Was this fire a diversion? A desperate purge of evidence? I glanced at Lily, her green eyes fluttering shut, and my mind flashed to that rogue drone filming her ordeal, its lens glinting with sinister intent. Was it tied to Owen's secrets? A surveillance tool for his shadowy dealings? I fumbled for my phone, texting Aunt Helen, Richard's estranged sister, who'd called earlier with a chilling, "I warned you about their darkness." Her reply came swift, her words a lifeline laced with dread. "Owen's in over his head. Claire knows more than she lets on. Get Lily safe. Now." Before I could process, my phone buzzed with a security alert. A break-in at my Napa loft, windows smashed. A note scrawled with "You'll pay for this" in jagged red ink. Terror gripped me like a vice as I dialed my security team, my voice cracking with desperation. The loft, my sanctuary of glass and steel overlooking the city, was ransacked, papers shredded, a laptop banished, and that note a dagger to my resolve. Owen's creditors, I suspected, retaliating for his mounting $5 million 0-cents debt to a cartel-ank lender. My startup, already teetering after a rival investor threatened to yank the $10 million 0-cents deal, labeling my family drama unstable, now faced a PR nightmare. I'd banished Richard, Claire, and Owen from the hospital, my vow to shield Lily a steel resolve forged in rage, but their absence only fueled a retaliatory storm. Richard's texts dripped with justification. We acted in her best interest to avoid hysteria, while Owen's hinted at dirt he'd use against me, and Claire's tearful pleas rang hollow, each call a dagger to my dwindling trust. Lily's surgery had succeeded, a fragile victory after a tense operating room wait, but the road ahead was brutal. Months of rehab loomed, a possible permanent limp haunting her every step. Home life spiraled into chaos as we returned to the high-rise, its sleek design now a prison with Lily's mobility crushed. The elevator ride up was a silent ordeal, her crutches clattering against the walls, her face a mask of pain. Friends and colleagues rallied, bringing organic meals, carrying her upstairs when the elevator failed. Daniel, my ex from Sydney, flew in unannounced, his face etched with guilt as he unpacked groceries. "I should have been here more," he murmured, helping adjust Lily's pillows. It was a balm, a flicker of the man I'd once loved, but it couldn't erase the sting of my family's betrayal. I consulted lawyer Sarah, a sharp-witted advocate, amassing x-rays, nurse statements, and Dr. Patel's grim prognosis for a restraining order, my determination ironclad as I signed each document. Then, the second blow landed. A poisoned wine bottle arrived at my office, its label traced to Owen's associates, the liquid testing positive for a potent sedative. My hands shook as I sealed it in evidence, the threat a noose tightening around my throat. Was this a warning to back off, or an assassination attempt to silence my accusations? Tension mounted like a gathering storm. Owen leaked lies to my investors, claiming I staged Lily's injury to smear his pristine reputation, plunging my stock into a nosedive. Tension, too. I fought back with press releases and late-night calls, my voice raw from damage control, my team scrambling to salvage investor confidence. I sent certified letters cutting ties, attaching surgical reports and Dr. Patel's notes, my pen a sword slashing through their denial. The dangers escalated with chilling precision. A hacker breached my startup's servers, locking AI blueprints critical to our sustainability platform. Tension 3. Possibly Owen's revenge. I led my team in a frantic lockdown, sweat beading as I traced the breach to a VPN in Eastern Europe, my mind racing with the possibility of Owen's hired guns. 6 months later, Lily walked with a cane, her recovery a testament to her unyielding spirit, but legal pressure spiked. Tension 4, as Richard sued for visitation, alleging alienation. His lawyer's threats, a constant drumbeat that echoed through my sleepless nights. Mysteries gnawed at me, each a thread in a tapestry of intrigue. Who sent that drone? Its footage vanished into a digital abyss, and what secrets did Owen hide? Gambling ties to a cartel, blackmail from a botched surgery, or a darker scheme to protect his legacy? Why did Claire's calls stop after the fire? Her silence a wall I couldn't breach, and what did she know? Arson to erase proof of their neglect, or a deeper complicity? What lurked in the encrypted files Owen stole from my laptop during the break-in, hinting at corporate sabotage or personal vendettas? Would Lily's persistent pain, a dull ache she masked with smiles, unveil a medical cover-up? Owen's misjudgment masking a botched initial assessment that worsened the fracture? Could Helen's revelations expose a conspiracy? Richard's past cover-ups of Owen's malpractice stretching back decades to shield their family's pristine image? Each question pulled me deeper, a labyrinth of shadows I couldn't escape, my every step shadowed by the unknown. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Jack, but leads dissolved like mist, witnesses intimidated with late-night visits, drone logs wiped by a skilled hacker. Sarah warned, Owen's got deep pockets, legal and criminal. Watch your back, Emily. I fortified the loft with high-tech cameras, their red lights a constant vigil, yet paranoia grew with every creak of the floorboards. One humid night, a figure loomed outside, face shrouded in a hoodie, fleeing when I alerted police with a shaky 911 call. Was it Owen's lenders, a cartel enforcer, or a new enemy born from this chaos? Lily's nightmares intensified, her cries of, "They left me in the dark," piercing my soul as she thrashed in her sleep. I held her, whispering promises of safety, but the weight crushed my chest, a mother's guilt mingling with rage. Then, Helen sent Richard's old ledger, its yellowed pages filled with his scrawled notes on my childhood injuries, sprains dismissed as toughening up, a broken wrist ignored for days, mirroring Lily's fate. "He's done this before," she wrote in a shaky hand. Fury and clarity fused, a fire igniting my resolve, but a setback hit like a sledgehammer. My lead investor bailed, citing the hacker scandal, forcing a desperate pivot to smaller funders. I confronted Owen at his upscale clinic, heart pounding as I bypassed a flustered receptionist. He lounged in his office, smirking behind a mahogany desk. "Back off, Emily, or you'll regret it," he drawled, twirling a pen. I leaned in, voice steel. "You nearly killed Lily. I'm not stopping until you're exposed." His flinch? Fear or a calculated threat preceded security's firm escort, their hands rough on my arms. Shaken but resolute, I returned to the safe house to find Lily sketching, her cane propped aside. "Mom," I overheard Owen on a call. "Destroy the evidence," she whispered, her voice trembling. My blood froze, a glacier forming in my veins. Was he altering medical records, doctoring X-rays to bury his negligence? I urged Sarah to audit his files, but delays mounted, documents vanished, staff silenced with veiled threats, a wall of obstruction I couldn't breach. Danger peaked with a car bomb threat at my office, a chilling email with a ticking clock forcing an evacuation. No blast rocked the building, but the intent was clear. Silence me before I unraveled their web. I whisked Lily to a fortified safe house in Sonoma, its stone walls a fortress, my nerves frayed to threads, yet her courage steadied me, her small hand squeezing mine. "We'll beat this, Mom," she said, her voice a lifeline amid the storm. The PI linked Owen's $5 million 0-cents debt to a Mexican cartel, tying the drone, fire, and threats to a desperate bid to recoup losses. Helen's ledger revealed Richard's cover-up of Owen's botched surgeries, a patient's death hushed with payoffs, a pattern now endangering Lily. Tears flooded me, rage at their betrayal, grief for the lost trust, resolve to protect my daughter as I held her, promising justice would prevail. The turning point arrived 6 months later, a slow dawn breaking through the darkness. Lily ditched her cane, walking unaided across our safe-house garden, her smile a sunrise piercing the gloom. Sarah secured a permanent restraining order, quashing Richard's suit with damning evidence, while a whistleblower from Owen's clinic leaked his falsified records, X-rays altered, dates manipulated. The fire was confirmed arson, cartel drun to pressure Owen, and the hacker traced to a rival firm he'd hired, their contract exposed in a data dump. Emotion broke me, sobs of relief mingling with pride, as I embraced Lily, her limp fading into a memory. I sold Harper Innovations patents for $18 million, 0 cents, a bittersweet victory, and bought a cozy Sonoma haven with a garden studio, its roses a symbol of renewal. At our housewarming, surrounded by Daniel, Helen, and a circle of allies colleagues who'd stood by us, neighbors who'd brought casseroles, I raised a glass of sparkling cider. To resilience, to love, to new beginnings, I toasted, my voice steady. Lily joined, her laughter ringing clear, and as stars emerged over the vineyard horizon, I felt the shadows lift. Though the mysteries lingered, a tale yet to close, whispering of justice served and hope reborn. The days following Lily's surgery were a blur of hospital corridors and whispered fears. I barely left her side, the recliner beside her bed becoming my makeshift home, its vinyl creaking with every shift. Nurses came and went, their faces a blur of compassion and concern, adjusting IVs and monitoring her vitals. Dr. Patel visited daily, her brow furrowed as she checked the infection markers, her updates a roller coaster of hope and dread. "The graft's holding, but we're not out of the woods," she'd say, her stethoscope cold against Lily's chest. I nodded, my throat tight, memorizing every word as if it could anchor me. The hospital's antiseptic scent clung to my clothes, a constant reminder of the stakes, and I found myself staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment I'd found her in that cellar. Her whimpers, the blood-soaked jeans, the way her eyes pleaded for me. Back at the loft, the break-in's aftermath was a battlefield. Glass crunched underfoot as I surveyed the damage, the shattered window letting in a cool breeze that carried the scent of eucalyptus from the hills. My team arrived, their faces grim, sweeping for bugs or hidden threats. The stolen laptop held sensitive code, AI algorithms worth millions, and its loss gnawed at me. I worked late into the night, rebuilding from backups, my fingers flying over the keyboard as caffeine fueled my resolve. The note, "You'll pay for this," was analyzed by forensics, its ink suggesting a rushed hand, possibly Owen's in a moment of panic. I pinned it to a corkboard, a target for my growing investigation, my mind racing with scenarios. cartel enforcers, disgruntled employees, or Owen's own desperation. The fire at the estate added fuel to my paranoia. News reports showed charred vines in a smoldering barn, firefighters battling the blaze under a smoke-choked sky. I watched online, heart pounding as helicopters dumped water, the footage cutting to a reporter speculating on arson. Helen called again, her voice crackling with urgency. Richards covered for Owen before, malpractice suits buried with hush money. This fire could be a cleanup. I pressed her for details, but she hesitated, her breath heavy. There's more, Emily, but I need to dig deeper. Stay vigilant. Her words hung like a storm cloud, and I spent hours poring over old family photos, searching for clues. A tense glance, a hidden document, anything to confirm her suspicions. Owen's texts grew bolder, each one a taunt. "You're ruining our name for nothing," he wrote, attaching a blurry photo of Lily laughing at a past vineyard picnic, a twisted reminder of happier times. Claire's voicemails were a symphony of tears, begging, "Let's talk, Emily, for Lily's sake." But her refusal to acknowledge the neglect made my blood boil. Richard's messages were clinical, citing medical precedent. "Children heal fast, you're overreacting," as if his cardiology expertise trumped Lily's orthopedic reality. I blocked their numbers, but the harassment spilled into my professional life, investors pulling back, whispering about family instability. I held press conferences, my voice steady despite the exhaustion, framing it as a personal triumph over adversity, but the strain showed in my shadowed eyes. The poisoned wine bottle was a turning point, its delivery caught on office security. A courier in a hoodie, face obscured, dropping it with a smirk. Lab results confirmed a sedative strong enough to knock out a horse, and I imagined Owen's hand behind it, a desperate move to silence me. I installed motion sensors at home, their beeps a constant companion, and taught Lily to lock doors, her small hands trembling as she practiced. Daniel's presence helped, his quiet strength a contrast to my frenetic energy. He cooked dinner one night, pasta with a sauce from a recipe his mother taught him, and we ate in silence. Lily's crutches propped against the table, a silent testament to our new normal. The hacker attack was a digital siege. My IT team worked round the clock, tracing IP addresses through a maze of proxies, their screens glowing in the dim office. The lost blueprints were our edge in the sustainability market, and I felt the weight of every employee's future on my shoulders. I coded late into the night, my fingers aching, reconstructing algorithms from memory, my mind a steel trap of focus. The breach pointed to Owen. His tech-savvy assistant had access to my contacts, but proof eluded us. A frustrating dead end. I hired a cybersecurity firm, their fees draining my reserves. But the threat loomed, a shadow over every keystroke. Lily's rehab was a battlefield of its own. Physical therapist Mara, a no-nonsense woman with a runner's build, pushed her through exercises, leg lifts, balance drills, her voice firm but kind. Lily grimaced, sweat beading on her forehead, but she never complained, her determination a mirror of my own. We celebrated small wins, standing without support, a single unaided step. Each milestone a victory over the odds. Yet her nightmares persisted, her cries waking me at odd hours, and I'd sit by her bed, stroking her hair, whispering stories of her strength. The trauma bonded us, a silent pact to rise above the betrayal. The PI's investigation hit walls. Jack, with his weathered face and gravelly voice, reported dead ends. Vineyard workers paid off, drone operators untraceable. He found a lead on Owen's cartel ties, a money trail to Tijuana, but it vanished into a shell company's maze. I funded deeper digs, my savings dwindling, but the stakes demanded it. The figure outside the safe house returned, a silhouette against the moon, and I installed floodlights, their harsh glare a deterrent. Police patrols increased, but the threat felt personal, a predator circling. Helen's ledger was a Pandora's box. I read by lamplight, the pages crumbling, Richard's notes on my childhood injuries, a sprained ankle misdiagnosed, a concussion ignored, painting a pattern of neglect. He trained Owen to follow suit, Helen wrote, adding a postscript. Check the estate's old shed. There's a lockbox. I planned a covert trip, my pulse racing, but a storm delayed me, lightning cracking the sky, a natural barrier to my quest. The setback fueled my resolve, but also my fear. What if Owen beat me to it? The confrontation with Owen left scars. His clinic's sterile halls echoed with my footsteps, security's grip bruising my arms as they dragged me out. His smirk lingered, a ghost in my mind, and I wondered if he'd tipped off the cartel. Back at the safe house, Lily's revelation about destroying evidence sent me into overdrive. Sarah launched the audit, but hospital admin stonewalled, citing privacy laws, a legal quagmire I couldn't navigate alone. I enlisted a forensic accountant. Their fee is a gamble, but the truth was worth it. The car bomb threat was a crescendo. The email's ticking clock, 24 hours, forced an office evacuation. Employees fleeing with laptops, their faces pale. Bomb squad dogs sniffed every corner, finding nothing but tension. And I stood in the parking lot, rain soaking my suit, vowing revenge. The safe house became our haven, its stone walls a fortress against the storm. Lily's courage shone, her sketches of our new life, flowers, a dog, a swing, filling the walls a vision of hope. The climax built slowly. The PI's cartel link solidified. Owen's dead, a noose tightening, and the whistleblower's leak. Doctored x-rays, deleted logs, cracked his facade, the fire's arson proof, a cartel signature, and the hacker's trail to Owen's rival unraveled the web. I wept, a flood of relief and pride, holding Lily as she walked unaided, her limp a fading memory. The $18 million 0-cent sale secured our future, the Sonoma home a sanctuary, and the housewarming a celebration of resilience. As stars emerged, I felt hope. The mysteries a whisper of justice served, inspiring a new chapter. The hospital nights stretched into a surreal haze, the ICU's rhythm a strange comfort. I watched nurses change shifts, their quiet efficiency a contrast to my inner storm. Lily's hand in mine was warm, a tether, and I whispered apologies for leaving her with them, my voice breaking. The infection risk loomed, Dr. Patel's daily checks a ritual of hope and dread, her fingers gentle as she probed the graft. I studied her charts, my tech mind analyzing data, temperature spikes, white cell counts, searching for patterns to control the uncontrollable. The beeping monitors became my mantra, each steady beat a prayer for her survival. The loft's break-in aftermath was a personal violation. I sifted through the debris, finding a photo of Lily and me, frame cracked but intact, a symbol of our bond. The stolen laptop held years of work, and I rebuilt from cloud backups, my fingers numb from typing. The note's red ink smeared under my touch, a taunt I couldn't ignore, and I taped it above my desk. A reminder of the fight ahead. My security team installed panic buttons, their installation a clatter in the quiet night, and I trained Lily to use them. Her small hands steady despite her fear. The fire's footage looped in my mind, the vineyard's beauty consumed by flames, a metaphor for my family's decay. I called local news, posing as a concerned citizen, gleaning details. Arson confirmed, accelerant detected. Helen's voice trembled as she recounted Richard's past, a teenage cousin's injury covered up, and I felt a kinship with her pain. The ledger's pages were a treasure trove, each entry a stab, my broken wrist at 10, untreated for 3 days, now mirrored in Lily's ordeal. I sketched a plan to visit the shed, my heart racing with anticipation, but the storm's fury, thunder rolling like war drums, forced a delay, a cruel twist of fate. Owen's texts were a psychological game. "Lily's better off with us," he wrote, attaching a video of her old vineyard dance, a manipulation I despised. Claire's voicemails grew frantic. "We love her, Emily. Don't do this." But her denial fueled my resolve. Richard's clinical tone, "Pediatric recovery is robust," was a slap, and I blocked them, their silence a hollow victory. The investor pullout was a gut punch, and I pitched to smaller firms, my voice hoarse, my slides a blur of data, each nod a lifeline. The poisoned wine was a personal attack. The courier's smirk on tape haunted me, and I imagined Owen's hand guiding it, a poisoner's intent. I locked my office, installing air purifiers, and checked every delivery, my paranoia a shield. Daniel's pasta night was a rare calm, his sauce a taste of home, and we laughed over old stories, Lily's giggles a balm. The hacker siege was a digital war, my team's screens a battlefield, and I coded through the night, my mind a fortress, each line a defiance. Lily's rehab was a dance of pain and progress. Mara's exercises, leg presses, balance beams, were grueling, and I joined, sweating beside her, my own muscles aching. Her first step without crutches was a tearful triumph, and we celebrated with ice cream, her smile a beacon. Her nightmares, though, were a wound, cries of abandonment waking me, and I held her, reciting her favorite book, The Secret Garden, its hope a thread. The PI's dead ends frustrated me, Jack's gravelly updates a litany of failure, and I funded deeper dives, my bank account a casualty. The confrontation with Owen was a clash of wills. His office's sterility mocked me, his smirk a mask, and I left with bruises, my pride intact. Lily's revelation sparked a fire, and Sarah's audit hit roadblocks. Hospital lawyers citing HIPAA, a maze I navigated with forensic help. The car bomb threat was a terror, the evacuation a chaos of sirens, and I stood in the rain vowing justice. The safe house's stone walls cradled us. Lily's sketches a vision, and the PI's cartel link, a Tijuana trail unraveled Owen's web. The climax was a slow dawn. Lily's unaided walk was a miracle, Sarah's order a shield, and the whistleblower's leak a bombshell. The fire's cartel tie, the hacker's rival link, and the $18 million 0-cent sale built our future. The housewarming was a celebration, Daniel's toast a bridge, Helen's presence a route. And as stars emerged, I felt hope. A tale of resilience, inspiring us all, mysteries a whisper of justice yet to unfold. The hospital's quiet hum was a strange companion, nurses' soft footsteps a rhythm I clung to. "Her fever's down," Dr. Patel said one night, her voice a lifeline, and I excelled, my shoulders loosening. Lily stirred, murmuring, "Mom, don't leave," and I promised, my voice a whisper against her hair. The loft's glass crunched underfoot, a sound I'd never forget, and I rebuilt code, my fingers a blur, the notes red ink a beacon. The fire's smoke lingered in my dreams, Helen's warnings a drum, and I planned the shed trip, my heart a drumbeat, delayed by lightning's roar. Owen's texts taunted, Claire's pleas broke, Richard's logic stung, and I fought investors, my voice a shield. The wine's poison chilled me, Daniel's pasta warmed, the hacker's breach tested, and Lily's rehab lifted us. The PI's failures fueled me, the confrontations scarred me, the bomb threat terrified, and the safe house healed. The climax, Lily's walk, Sarah's win, the leak, the sale, the housewarming, culminated in hope, a tale of triumph overshadowed.